We appreciate God that we are here. We started with God. Like one thing I encourage everyone to do is about this way of appreciation. Don't be too tired to clap. Let us clap that this hotel, we know that something is going on. Is that okay with everybody? Yes. I know some of us are in our barbaric guys, but let us forget the way we dress. Okay? AC! Take it back! AC! Take it back! Take it back! Take it back! Let's stand up for our national anthem. Take everything back.
How do you introduce somebody who needs no introduction? There aren't very many people in Nigeria that go by one name. And for the 30 years that I have had the privilege and the honor of knowing the person that I'm introducing, he has gone by one name. Some of us know him as Sowere. Actually, most people know him as Sowere. But for those of us who have known him for as many as 30 years from his days in the University of Lagos, we just call him Show. That's all we do. We just call him Show. And it is incredible to me when I think about him, and I think about him a lot, that for the 30 years that I have known him, the courage that people see today did not just start. This young man was as courageous as he is now as he is now, he was exactly displaying those qualities in 1989 and in 1990, in the period that I got to know him. Where do I begin when we're talking about Sowere? I went to the University of Lagos, that's when I met him. I got to Unilag in 1990. By the time I got there in 1990, Sowere had already been in Lag for 1 year. But for those of us who came in the 1996, there was a name that was already percolating as the name of somebody who was already displaying incredible leadership qualities. And again, as I think back over the last 30 years, and I think about every juncture of Nigeria's history, whether it was the anti-SAP riots of 1989, whether it was one crazy student leader's decision that secret cults would not terrorize students on campus, whether it was the decision to stand up against the military and protest the annulment of the June 12, 1993 elections, whether it was the decision to find a way to chase the military out of power in 1999, whether it was the juncture at which the Nigerian civil society group and the Nigerian political class decided that we were not going to have Obasanjo turn Nigeria into a Mugabe type situation in 2006, whether it was the juncture at which the plans of the Yaradua cabal to perpetuate Yaradua in office, even though the man was technically dead, and whether it was the effort to move a moribund PDP out of power and give Nigeria another chance at possible change. At every single juncture that I've mentioned, there is one name, one person that has consistently been there throughout all those periods. And that is Omoloye Sowere. I think that deserves a round of applause. He has been consistent. He has been dogged. He is courageous. He is visionary. And every single thing that you would want to see in a leader, that is exactly what you would see in this man that we're all gathered here to talk about, to celebrate, and to support today. When Sowere left the University of Lagos, and I cannot think of any other person that has gone through university education and come out successfully, having gone through the things that he went through in Unilag. This is not the time to recount the things that he went through. But when somebody is rusticated not once but twice, when somebody is attacked by militant cult groups on campus, when somebody is arrested and detained not once, not twice, but several times over, when somebody is persecuted, even when he's doing his NYSC, when somebody moves and comes over to the United States, but never forgets the dream and the vision of turning Nigeria into something better, when somebody decides that what he wants to do is to now revolutionize the way media is done, when he started telling us in 2006 that he had a vision called Sahara. Now, when Sowere talks to you, the idea might sound crazy, but you have to take him seriously. Because he doesn't think in binary terms. Sowere is a big thinker. And the dream that he birthed in 2006 is now a reality that has changed the way media is done, not just in Nigeria, but across the whole of Africa. For those of us who didn't know Sowere when he was in school, many of us got to know him through his work at Sahara Reporters. And every person in Nigeria, every person in government, every political leader in that country will tell you that the fear of Sowere is the beginning of wisdom. So when a man tells you he wants to go change Nigeria, he has demonstrated with his life a life of total commitment to Nigeria. that he's ready for it. There's nothing you can say about the Nigerian political system that Sowere has not experienced. Is it a rugged system? Yes, he knows that. Is it a ruthless system? Yes, he knows that. He has been in and out of Nigerian detention cells frequently, so he understands what it is. Is it complicated? Yes, he knows that. But is it possible? He also knows that it's possible. So not only does he have the courage, not only does he have the experience, he also has the intellect. And I will go back again to the question of Sahara Reporters. Sahara Reporters is not just an organization that reports the news, it is also setting trends. That is the only Nigerian organization that has been syndicated and where news has broken first on Sahara, that has been picked up by agencies like CNN, like BBC, and global organizations. And not only has Sahara Reporters impacted politics in Nigeria, it has also been directly responsible for the enhancement of democracy in places as far-flung as Gambia, and of course in Zimbabwe. So when you look at Zimbabwe today and you see the democracy they have, you can tie that back. The first time and the only time that journalists accosted Robert Mugabe and forced him into a reckoning. That was done by reporters from which agency? Sahara Reporters.
I don't want to block you, understand.
When Obasanjo's third-term plan was made clear, where was that broken? It was Sahara Reporters. When Yar'Adua was technically dead, and the cabal around him was hiding that fact, and no Nigerian newspaper had the courage to report on it, because they understood what it meant. The only place that Nigerians looked to get the truth was Sahara Reporters. And why is Sowere doing this? It is time for us to stop telling the news, and it is time for us to start making the news. It is time to step out from behind the keyboards and to start leading the struggle and the movement.
We started getting calls from all over the world. Suddenly, Nigerians all over the world also want to have their own Diaspora convention. They are saying that the people in the US cannot appropriate their fundamental diasporic rights by claiming to be representing the diaspora in the US, whereas there are people in diaspora in places like Japan, Australia, we have them in Nepal, India, China, we have in the United Kingdom, Scotland, South Africa, Russia. So what we have to deal with is how to divide our time, the little time we have left, to visit all the diaspora conventions that have been planned, to challenge that of New York that we have today. But it's a good problem to have, because where we cannot physically be, we'll be in spirit. I'm not going to say much, but we'll also add my own calculations onto how we can fund our campaign and defeat the old order. You see, when we went to Nigeria, when we started, one of the things we were scared with is where will you get money to challenge these people? But we realized that we could change the currency of politicking by introducing ideas that the big money people cannot match. What we are looking at, or what we are looking for, is $2 million. And this is nothing, it's not enough to run for a governorship position if we do politics the way they do it in Nigeria. It's not enough to buy rice, brand them, and call them stomach infrastructure. But the good news is that people believe us so much at home, and I'm not making this up. They believe in us so much that they are not expecting us to bribe them with anything. They are just saying, please, come and know more people. That's what people are asking for. And in a country that is bitterly divided on ethnic and religious lines, it will interest you that nobody has ever asked of my religion. Except somebody who tried to do it yesterday in Indianapolis. And everybody shut him down right there. They said, don't answer him. Nobody has asked of my ethnicity except people who know it. Because even me, I don't know to which ethnic group I belong. And that's the truth. And those of you who might be questioning that must have heard about the controversy in Italy, right? Which is a subject for another symposium discussion in the future. But in getting this $2 million, we just need 10,000 Nigerians who are willing to donate $200 only. And I'm sure in this room, in the fullness of this room, you know at least 1,000 Nigerians. So if this room can solve the problem of 1,000 Nigerians, that means we need 9,000 Nigerians in another city. So if you count all the cities and we can find 1,000 Nigerians, we only need 10 cities across the world to fulfill this mandate of funding the most revolutionary campaign in the history of perhaps the continent of Africa since the end of apartheid. Because apartheid was the only other campaign that was funded with diaspora funding. The great news is that everybody has seen the best they can offer. Buhari just left the United Nations. They said as good as the United Nations public address system was, nobody heard what he was saying in the room. Nobody could quote what Buhari said except his millions who followed him from Nigeria.
And they were sleeping.
Yes, and half of them fell asleep in the room. But the speech was so boring that even his main economic advisor from Edo State, Obaseki, fell asleep throughout his speech. But that is not the issue. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, Nigerians have left Buhari behind. The country is looking forward to a new day. And we are getting signals from every part of Nigeria. And I'm saying it categorically because I've been to every part of Nigeria. Nigeria has 6 geopolitical zones. And I've been in every major city or cities in those 6 geopolitical zones. We've been in Sokoto, we've been in Kano, we've been in Kaduna, we've been in Jalingo, Yola. If you come to the south side, we've been in Calabar, Port Harcourt. We've been in Benin. Come to the southwest, Akure, Ikene, Abeokuta, Lagos, Oyo, Ogbomoso, Igbora. You want to talk about the North Central? Our biggest rally was in Ilorin. Can you believe that? Ilorin, Kwara State, where the people of Kwara, I had to do this for Alaja. Because she has always been complaining to me since 16 years ago when I first met her that Kwara is under bondage. We need somebody to go and free up the place. And Kwara will be free alongside 35 other states in Nigeria next year. We went to Okene, we went to Lokoja, right? And we spoke there. That's the conference city in Nigeria where the River Niger met River Benue in a very significant place. So we've been to all these significant places. We've been to palaces of traditional rulers. Some of them agree with us, some of them don't. Again, that's a matter for the future. We've been to universities across Nigeria, we've been to primary schools, we met farmers, we met even Fulani herdsmen. Fulani herdsmen that everybody is afraid of. We met one with 400 cows and we stopped him and said, "Sir, is there anything we can do for you?" That first we stop you walking around the place looking for grass to eat for grass for your cows. And so that you can even send your children to school and your wife can rest. Because when you say Fulani herdsman, he's a moving house. He has his wife, his children, he has his money, everything there. That's what they are protecting. When you see that they fight back, sometimes people don't understand these things. And he said something to me I could never forget. He said, "This is the first time anybody ever asked me what I want." He said, they just take it for granted that we are criminals. But we are not. But nobody talks to us. I said, "But what about your brother Buhari?" He said, "Forget that one. He doesn't even know who Buhari is because Buhari has not done anything that has an impact on his life." And I asked him right there, this is between Yola and Jalingo. I said, "What if we create a ranch, put you there, and your children can go to school and you can make your money?" He said, "I can't wait." That thing I did right there on the highway, if Nigerian government were to be involved, they would set up a committee first to go and meet the Fulani herdsmen. Then the committee will now set up another second committee to discuss what they discussed with the Fulani herdsmen. Then another third committee will now write a white paper on the discussion they had with the Fulani herdsmen, and another committee will be set up to disband the other committee, and then another fifth committee will be set up to probe all the committees. Nothing ever gets done because in the first place there's no plan to do anything. That is where we are, but that is not where we are going. Where we are going is what has been described to you by all these great people that have been speaking to you before now. As you can see, as our sister Tom read out, a lot of people have already made donations to this cause. Who didn't even bother to come here tonight to eat the food as part of, because if you make a donation, you are supposed to eat some food. But they are not interested. They're not interested in the food. They're interested in what they can give so that this country can be better. One last thing I will say is that all of us that are sitting down here, we're living in probably one of the best countries on the surface, on earth. But I have not met anyone, not one Nigerian, who is out here who doesn't want a Nigeria that they can go back to. Not one. But I can almost say categorically most times that we are here, tired of living here, but we have nowhere to go to, otherwise we'll be out of here the next day. We know what all of us are going through in our various circumstances or circumstantial living in America. But here is what I'll tell you: if we can raise this money that we need to prosecute the battle we need to prosecute, you can leave me to go and do the rest for you, and I'll go and prepare a place for you to come back to. Don't worry about my security because my conscience will protect you. Yes.
Ask you a question and let everybody listen through, okay?
Thank you very much. I was very excited when I heard about your intention to run, and I follow your Sahara reporters, and I see the truth. I see the search and quest for truth. And hearing what I've heard tonight about your background, I feel even more comfortable. Well, we all know where we come from and how complicated a country it is. What are some of AAC's ideas for what I'll call like cultural tribal integration? Because tribalism is one of the things that keeps the country back. There are all these small groups that think they're their own country, basically. So what are some of the key ideas that you guys are thinking about to negate that horrible cancer in Nigeria where everybody says, I'm from here, I'm from there?
Can we take the second question as well?
Where's the second question? Anybody?
I want to employ you whenever you are campaigning in Nigeria. I would like you to be saying the loud for the people, no matter which ethnicity or tribe you are. That's number one. Number two, when you are raising money, I think we're supposed to have collected something tonight, not having a public training knowledge, so that we know how far. Yes.
My name is Wale. Alright, my question is very, very simple. Mr. Sowere, it's so sad that someone like me, I remember when I was 21 when I graduated from University of Bangkok, I wrote medical information system software, I wrote a proposal and I took it to Open State, to Governor House. Precisely. Our colleagues, I made a special advisor for general duties. His name was Elijah something. And I remember when I showed the system, when I showed him what to offer, we were not asking for money. The system was as good as all you need to do is thumbprint, and your whole medical history will come up. You actually get free medical care because from your salary we made it in a very, very, I can't go into details because everybody has to speak, but made it in a very, very simple way that the city will pay nothing and there was nothing done about it. Likewise, we get different proposals. We're not asking for money. All we're asking for is just give us a platform to show that we care. But my question is, how would you be able to create such platforms for people like us that will actually, we create ideas and we actually we lead the world with ideas. They can come to you, we have access to you, and can give you those ideas that you can actually implement or probably develop into theaters. Thank you.
My name is Charles Olabode. I'm excited about your candidacy. But the thing is, it's primary going on in Nigeria right now. And what is AAC doing about winning the primary election? Because if that is a strategy that a new party and a new candidate that will bring you to the limelight. You know, if you win in a local or in a state election, then you can capitalize on that, and that will take you national. So, what is your strategy as regards that?
The question of last question, we are having our own. The equivalent of our primaries will be next weekend in Lagos. We'll have our national convention, and if any candidate shows up, apart from myself, they are entitled to run against me, and we'll do a primary election, and a winner will be announced. If what we are referring to is what happened in Osun last week, we were registered about 6 weeks ago, and INEC made it clear that we cannot participate in a Osun state election because they had already closed the nominations for it before we announced the new political parties. So there's no way we could have participated in Osun election. With regards to other elections that we're eligible to participate in, we are going to participate. One thing people should understand very clearly was that when we started as a movement. As a matter of fact, we were looking to join a party when we got legal advice that we can still register a party within 30 days. And if they don't respond to us, we become a political party automatically. And that's how we went for the registration of the party. And we were one of the parties announced among the 23 new political parties that took Nigeria to 91 political parties. But if you look at it today, if you are listening to trackers around the country, if they mention APC, which we know is heading into oblivion, and they mention PDP, which is already moribund, the only party that you hear about in Nigeria is AAC. And we are proud of the work we have done, and we really, really appreciate all of our foot soldiers who are out there fighting to get this party to every nook and cranny of Nigeria in people's eyes and hearts. And that is very important. I go to the second question about creating a platform or an enabling environment for people with ideas to flourish. As someone rightly mentioned today, you've heard about Professor Patrice Lumumba in Kenya. It's very popular on Facebook. He said in Africa, people with ideas have no power, and people with power have no ideas. One of the things we will do at our level in the AAC is that we will actually create a position for a chief innovation or technology officer in Nigeria, who can receive, his office can receive this kind of ideas, look through them, and see if they will fit into our intention to get Nigeria technologically wired everywhere in the health sector, security sector, infrastructure, and electricity and power. So you won't be roaming about. You are lucky that they didn't steal your idea completely and turn it into their own, which is what they do. But the problem is that they have with us that the kind of ideas we have, you can't even plagiarize them. If you steal them, you can't implement them because you don't know the code. You don't know the password to our own ideas. The level at which we are operating is higher than the level at which they are operating. That's why we are not worried. Now you see that they've tried very hard to steal a number of our ideas recently, but they are struggling. Minimum wage that they tried to even pay, they couldn't do it at 58,000. And we have an agenda to pay 100,000 naira as minimum wage, which is equivalent to $300 per month. Peanuts. Second suggestion about speaking at local dialects we are trying. There are 250 local dialects in Nigeria to speak. You know, I'm doing Yoruba. I have a little bit of Hausa, and you understand a little bit of Igbo. You know, so we go into all these areas, we ginger them up. But the bottom line is that beyond just speaking our dialects and language of people, our people also want to understand that they have new leaders who are willing to speak for their aspirations for a better future. And we're doing a great job at that. In places where we can't speak the language directly, we even hire interpreters. I agree with you. English language is not our language. It is language that was imposed on us by slave masters and eventually the colonialists. And that is why sometimes I don't have so much for people who are on social media saying that, oh, you don't speak English the way the Queen is speaking in England. Do the English people speak Yoruba? No. So it's part of where we are going. We'll get to a point where we will have to be speaking our own language because we can teach mathematics in our language. We can teach chemistry in our language, physics in our language, computer science in our language. People have said that during the Yoruba that the Ifa corpus has some computer dimension to it, you know. But that's again something we'll discuss in the future. How do you integrate tribes? The issue of tribalism. That's a very great question. But do you know why I don't feel bad about tribalism anymore? I think tribalism has gone round, and Nigerians have seen the futility of tribalism. Sometimes you have to thank the likes of Buhari and Jonathan for the reason why Nigerians are no longer thinking tribally. A lot of Nigerians are now thinking globally because they have discovered that even their own potentials cannot be achieved within this conclave of ethnic sentimentality. That for you to make it in the world, you have to reach out to other people. For you to become somebody, you can't continue to be just a Yoruba man who only talks to another Yoruba man. It's not going to happen. For you to understand the way the world is working, you have to go beyond being an Hausa man. And Nigeria, culture of the likes of Buhari, came to practice the worst form of tribalism and nepotism. Because today in Nigeria, you can't get a job in the federal government politically if you don't speak in tribal language that Buhari understands, or if you are not part of that cocoon of his family and nepotistic circle. And that is what led to, for example, what they call zoning. And zoning is It's lazy man's approach to politics in Nigeria. When somebody cannot campaign on a national level, we start looking for a zone under which to hide to become president. So what do we do, which is what I will answer finally regarding tribalism? Do justice to every tribe in Nigeria. If they get justice, every tribe will become one in Nigeria. And that is what exactly we are going to do. We are going to be blind. We are going to be religiously blind to anybody. We will do for everybody what they deserve as citizens of Nigeria. Like I said, even if you are worshiping a pen, you'll be treated as if, the same way people who are worshiping other things will be treated. Everybody will be equal before the nation and its resources. And that is what we do. And that's how you will never hear about tribalism again when we win next year. We want people, don't use the word if we win. When? It's when we win. Because I've seen some of you. Yeah.